Namaskar, my dear friends. Suromurchhana is organizing the birth centenary festival of the legendary maestro Pandit A. Kanon all throughout the year 2020, and we are going to end this festival with a mega event, a mega festival where all masters of Indian classical music will be performing along with young masters who I'm sure will be going to be the future masters of India. And we are proud to have with us today one such great master of Indian flute, Pandit Pravin Godkhindi ji. Thank you, Pravin ji, for being here.
Thank you so
Uh,
much, Sanjay ji. I would like to extend my gratitude. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of this wonderful festival. So thank you for having me over. Thank you so much.
thank you so much. And also, it's Shri Shadaj Godkhindi, wonderful, wonderful flautist, and I'm sure that he'll be one of the future masters of India, and we are looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Uh, So, I would start asking few questions with Praveen ji. So we know that you are three generations of musicians, but how the flute came to your family? Your father was a wonderful, wonderful flautist, but how it came to your family, in spite of other instruments?
Yeah, my father was basically a vocalist and a harmonium player. He accompanied all the legendary vocalists of Hindustani music. And since we belong to Dharwad,
Mhm.
as you all know, it's a seat of Hindustani music. So he grew up listening to all the legends, and then eventually he started accompanying them, like Gangubai Hangalji,
Ah,
Basuraj Rajguruji, Pandit Bhimsenji. On many occasions, he played the harmonium along with them. He toured with them, and so what happened was all that gaiki, that Kirana Gharana Gayaki, was he imbibed all the gaiki of the Kirana style, and he also had some formal training from one Pandit Narayan Rao Mujumdar of Gwalior Gharana. So that was his initiation into music. But one fine day, he happened to find a bamboo flute in a fair,
mm,
in a where he had gone to perform along with Pandit Basuraj Rajguruji. Someone was selling flute, and he just bought it, and he started fiddling with it. So before my father, my grandfather and my grandmother, they were into culture. My grandfather used to play a little bit of harmonium. My grandmother used to sing, but they were never professionally trained, or they were not into classical music. But my father somehow had the music in him, and so he started developing his own style of playing the flute
yes.
in the Gaiki format. So all the Gaiki that he had in him, all the vocalist style, he tried to bring it out through his flute. So mind you, he didn't have a guru for flute as such. So back then, in during the 60s and 70s, radio was the only thing for him. So he would listen to concerts, Panna Babu playing, or
Mhm.
other flutists, and then he would try to imitate that. And he didn't have recorders, so he whatever he used to listen there, he used to try and bring it out through the flute. So there were
Ah,
a lot of trial and error method which he underwent. um, and luckily for him, he eventually got into Akashwani, into the
mm,
administrative section.
okay.
So after joining All India Radio, he had a interaction with lot of musicians and
Lot of
lot of
music.
music. So it all helped him grow as a flautist, as a flute player. So he completely stopped playing the harmonium, and he concentrated only on flute and classical vocal. I would like to mention here that he is probably the only graded artist who was graded in both classical vocal as well as classical bansuri.
Wow.
So that was his background. So, and even before I was born, music was always there. 24/7. He would practice, he would teach, and so music just was in my blood. It was in my genes. So I didn't have to choose the flute. It came and fell into my lap.
But what I see in your flute is it's a wonderful mixture of Tantrakaari Ang and the Gayaki Ang. That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
the both of these. Did you learn from your father or any other else had a great influence, or you were influenced by some other musicians too that you imbibed though that thing into your music?
I completely learned the art of playing bansuri in the Gaiki style from my father, Pandit Venkatesh Godkhindi. And he used to train me in a peculiar way of making me sing the phrase and also play. So his firm belief was that you should be able to play whatever you sing, and you should be able to sing whatever you play, and that is ultimate Gaiki ang of playing. So that's how he trained me. But eventually, then my greatest influence was, of course, all these wonderful maestros that I could listen to in live concerts in Delhi, Hyderabad, wherever we were transferred. So my greatest influence as far as Tantrakaari Ang, I would definitely say Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia ji. I heard a lot of his albums, his concerts, and imbibed some of his techniques. But I also was a huge fan of Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, Pandit Shukma Sharma ji, and of course, Ustad Zakir Hussain sahab. So as far as presenting a raga in the Gatkaari or the Tantrakaari Ang, I used to follow all these maestros and try to inculcate some of the wonderful qualities that they had, and try to make my own style of performing. So since you have mentioned both the Gaiki and Tantrakaari Ang, I would like to say here that I have consciously tried to present few ragas only in the Gaiki format, and a few ragas in the Tantrakaari format, because I believe that some of the ragas can be the emotions can be brought out better if you follow the vocal styles. So I have tried to maintain that kind of a classification between the both the styles. And eventually I learned, I'm still under the tutelage of my guru Vidwan Anoor Krishna Sharma ji, whom we call Shivu sir. He's a legendary Mridangam artist, and he plays host of percussions. He's a composer. He lives here in Bangalore. So I keep visiting him, and I try to learn the deeper aspects of Layakaari. And my vision was to inculcate the Carnatic Layakaari aspect into the Tantrakaari Hindustani style. So that's what I've been trying to do, and thereby create my own identity of presenting a particular raga.
That's great. That's amazing. And your all concerts are really amazing. Just a question for the I would love what your suggestions for the students will be like, because how much important for a student is to learn Indian vocal music, or for any instrumentalist, how much it is important. How what suggestion you give to the instrument who are learning instrumental music?
See, I firmly believed my father's idea of Gaiki Ang, because flute comes closest to the voice, except for the vowels, the lyrics. Everything else is the same amount of breath, the same kind of emotion. Everything is same in bansuri. So my father's idea was, why should we not follow the vocal style and go to Tantrakaari or other styles. So that in that respect, all the instruments, I think, all the instrumentalists, they need to learn Gaiki. To a certain extent, they should be able to sing. Only then they can emote or bring out the bhava of the rag through their instrument. And I'm sure almost all of the instrumentalists definitely sing, uh, because it is the basic. If you have the swaras in your mind, in your brain, then it is easy to create emotions, create patterns, create. It is easy to reach out to the heart of the listener. So in that respect, I suggest the students to always try and sing and inculcate that habit of creating vocal patterns, which eventually will come into your instrumental playing.
Yeah. Thank you. Let me come to Sharaj. Sharaj, your father was telling that it's very much important to learn. So I was asking you the question that I have listened to, and you were doing note progression one by one. Development that you were doing was very much like the vocal thing. So do you also give importance to the vocalism? I know we give it, but how do you feel? How much important for you to learn vocal music?
um,
I
as
know
my
what
father
way the
said,
vocal music is helping you to blossom into a good flautist.
of course, as my father said, uh, like my grandfather and like my father, I've always followed the Gayaki Ang. And
Hmm.
when I learn a raga from my
Hmm.
father, the first thing I do is listen to various renditions of the same raga by the legends, the legendary
Ah,
vocalists,
wonderful.
and I completely follow Pandit Bhimsen Joshi ji's singing and Ustad Amir Khan ji's singing, and I try to play the same phrases on the flute, which is quite difficult because ragas like Shuddh Kalyan and there are such heavy ragas which can be played beautifully if it sounds like someone is singing. So I try to play the same phrases as what they have sung. So I think it's very important to first listen to the gaiki by the legends, and then play it on the flute. So that's how I practice each raga. I first listen to them, and then I try to play the same phrases on the flute.
Wonderful, wonderful. Praveen-ji, now my question is like, you are very good at studies. You are a B in electrical and electronics engineering. So how did you manage to do so much of practice apart from your studies? Because nowadays we see students who say, no, we are a lot of studies, too much pressure of studies. How did you manage? Your message to those students?
Yeah, in a way, I was lucky because I did my engineering in Dharwad. So I
Hmm.
was in this cradle of Hindustani music, day in and out. I used to listen to people practicing. There were a lot of concerts happening, and that helped me grow as a musician. But simultaneously, I should thank my professors, lecturers, and my friends in college who really helped me in my pursuit of my academics. But God was kind, From the beginning, I was good in school, good at school. So, um, but one thing that I have personally experienced is there's a beautiful connection between science and music. So, if you're good at
Totally agree.
music, then the science part becomes easier, and vice versa. So I think people, the students, young students, all they have to do is try and allocate time for studies as well as music, and that's how you can achieve. It's not a it's nothing is impossible. You just have to
Yeah.
have that focus and determination, and with family and the teacher support and the guru support, definitely it is possible. I would like to
Wonderful.
add here that for
Yeah.
during my childhood days, my greatest inspiration with respect to the academics and music combination was Pandit Budaditya Mukherjee.
Yeah.
I heard him in Hyderabad, and when they
Hmm.
read out his biodata, they mentioned
Biodata.
about his
Gold medalist.
a gold medalist. So I said, when he can do it, why can't I? So that was the kind of
Yeah.
inspiration that I had, and so I managed it. Yeah.
And there are persons like N. Rajamji also, who are very educated and also doing all taking care of the whole family, cooking and everything, and playing that kind of music. So
Absolutely.
one cannot, yeah. So one cannot complain about studies. Thank you for mentioning that. And another aspect, like when I hear you, you portray the raga emotion so beautifully. So I want to know, so what goes into your mind when you think of Sia Raga? Suppose you are playing a raga. So what comes to how you think of bringing the emotions of that raga out of you?
Yeah, that's a very pertinent and good question because um, it dawns upon you after a while that you have to create the raga uh, by understanding the bhava that has to come out by the combination of the notes. So initially, when all of us, when we start, we are just playing the swaras of a raga. So after a while, you realize that just by playing the swaras, you might not be able to create that emotion that is required. So the raga has to come out as a personality.
Yeah.
So I see each raga as a different person, different human being. So the concept that I follow is to describe the raga like the way I see it, I feel it. So uh, apart from the grammar, Arohan, Avrohan, and Vadi, Samvadi, the Nyaswar, and all that. Apart from that, and beyond that, what is essential is the essence or the soul of the raga. Are you able to capture it? So for that, a lot of listening is required. A lot of churning has to happen. The same raga has to be played again and again and again till you start feeling the raga. You become one with the raga. So it takes quite a quite an effort and a lot of sadhana. So and after a while, I feel that raga starts dictating terms to you. Ki the Gandhar of Pilu, or the Komal Rishabh of Marwa, or the Andolan on Komal Daivat in Darbari Kannada, or the Andolan on Komal Rishabh in Bhairav. These are things that initially you just go by the rules, but after it should so happen that the raga makes you play that, makes you sing that. That is when the actual raga, the emotion of the raga is conveyed, and the raga comes out as a personality. Just by playing phrases or swaras of a raga, maybe we might not be able to create that desired bhava, is my opinion.
Good, great. Now, Sharad, my question to you is like, how much do you feel important to listen to the great masters to make an individual style of your own? Because you cannot be your father's copy. What I feel, you cannot be your father's copy, but you need to have an individuality. So how do you prepare yourself? How much the great masters have an effect on you to which helps you to develop individual style on your own?
Of course, as I said before, many of the vocalists have been a great, huge inspiration, like Ustad Amir Khan ji, Pandit Bhimsen Joshi ji, and Basarraj Rajguru ji. So, as I said before, if I take a raga, I listen to them and I try to play those phrases in my own style. Say, suppose there's one phrase which Amir Khan ji sings, and I take the same phrase and I play it in my own way on the flute, and that's how I feel one musician can create his own style, because yeah, I mean, of course, you can't just copy one musician, but you can take inspiration from the musicians here, vocalists. So that's what I feel is important. You take inspiration from these great maestros and try and play those phrases or those intricate parts of a raga and make it your own. So I think that's important.
And interestingly, what I encouraged Shadaj to do was do cover versions of these maestros. Sahilare of Kishori Tai, such a legendary thing. I wanted him to play it on the flute, and he did that. And that way, he did cover versions of classical ragas. 3 minutes, 4 minutes. You can find it on YouTube. You really, I think you'll really appreciate. because at a time when most of the youngsters are trying to do cover versions of Bollywood, Shadaj has been spending his time doing cover versions of classical ragas and compositions. So I apart from the training that he got from my father and what he's undergoing the training under me, I also wanted him to get exposed to the thoughts of these maestros, which will eventually influence his thoughts, while bringing out the ragas.
Great, great. But since you talked about Bollywood music, but you are also in the music direction. You have won national awards for films. So how did you this thought of going to this genre of music? I will do music for the films and everything, and so successfully. So how did it come out in your mind?
I once I finished my engineering, I actually came to Bangalore in search of a job, in the
Okay,
IT sector. But my calling was always music. I was born into a musical family, and back then, degree having a degree was an essential thing. Every family, my parents were the same. They always said you have to have a degree. Um, Music पर depend नहीं कर सकते हैं. So I just finished my degree and then I came here and I saw that there were not many flutists in Bangalore then,
hmm.
who were based on Hindustani music. So I immediately got a lot of offers, and then I became totally busy into recordings, sessions. And but my father always kept saying that, however deep you go into this commercial field, don't
Hmm.
leave your riyas, and concentrate and try to keep the purity, which is very very important. So I did that, and I never let go of any of my classical concerts. Uh, Many of the times, the music directors would say, "Arey, we are paying you so much, and you are leaving our recording and going for a concert where they won't pay you so much." I said, "That is different. Money I can earn anytime, but classical concert is what gives me the peace, and that is my eventual dream, of
Yeah.
being a classical soloist than a sessions musician." But I didn't leave it completely. I was part of the industry. Then I became a TV presenter, in the sense that I created a TV serial called Raga Ranjini, which was
Okay.
based on ragas. So I would explain ragas in each episode and play different genres in the ragas, like bhajans, film songs, and qawwalis, whatever was available on that raga. So I somehow my aim was to popularize Indian classical music through various mediums. So then I eventually created my own fusion band. Even now we keep performing all over the world. But the mainstay again is classical ragas and the melodies of Indian classical music. I did a lot of jugalbandis. Then you also, side by side, I keep producing films, art movies. So the Beru and Vimukti were two movies which
Yeah.
got the national awards
National
for
award.
Kannada films. Yeah. So I've been doing music all through. A lot of background scores for television serials and films and dance dramas. I compose. I have my own studio. I'm a programmer myself, so whatever melodies I want to create, I harmonize them. I arrange music. So that's a complete different ball game. But the foundation of classical music, the ragas and the bhava of each raga helps me create all this. You know. I never let the rhythmic part or some other element uh, overtake my melodies. I keep the
Yeah.
melodies always strong, and I think that is my that has been my idea of music production, to base each and every composition of mine thoroughly on one layer of a raga. Although I embellish it with other notes which are not in the raga, but still there is one underlying, like a backbone, um,
Yeah.
that gives a sense of a classical raga, and that is how I manage and enjoy doing that kind of commercial work.
Okay. So my question to Shadaj is, seeing your father, how much you get encouraged to work on this genre of music, this film music?
Oh, very much. I mean, I've accompanied my father in many of the fusion programs and other sorts of concerts, and he's always encouraged me to do other genres of music as well, not only classical.
Musical.
Not because I mean because I'll know the different types of genres. I'll get to learn a lot from it.
Yeah.
So that's very important, I feel. So he encourages me to listen to other sorts of genres of music, and play along with the other songs and listen to other songs. So I think it's very important to listen to other types of genres. I mean, it's going to help me in my music career as well. So yeah.
And one point of time, he also used to play the Western drums. Now he's quit it.
Oh.
No, I'm not quitting. I'm going to continue.
Okay, good. By the way, you have the band called Krishna Fusion Band. So you have made it. How did it come? All these things inspired you to make a band, like with definitely you keep the emotions of the raga intact. I have heard this band, but how did it came to your mind that we need to do something like this?
It so happened that there were many talented musicians in the studios back then,
Yeah.
and we used to work from say almost 12 hours in a day, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We were in the studios working
Yeah.
for various music directors, and the same bunch of musicians would we keep shifting and working in various music studios, and it was like um, most of the times it used to be a conversation through our instruments.
Uh,
Now when I look back, it amazes me itself, because I will be sitting in a different room, and the drummer is in some other room, the tabla dholak guys are in some other room, the guitarist is in some other room, and in between songs, I would just start up with something, and then they would just jam up, and I used to come up with a phrase, and so it suddenly excited us. Something new is being created. So that was the point when I decided this kind of music should go into the public domain, and people should enjoy this, because there's everything that a person looks for. The typical commercial thing. The headbanging stuff is there. The soul touching ragas are there, and there's a lot of variety. So I thought, if I can come up with compositions that can have all these elements, and eventually, if we are able to reach out to this mass, and a small percentage of them can convert into class, then we have a new set of audience for the classical music. And I'm happy that it happened over a decade. I had a new, completely young fan base who started appreciating not only my fusion and jugalbandi concerts, but they also started attending a lot of my classical concerts. And I saw a sea change. Many of them were not exposed to classical music, and so it was a wonderful. I did a lot of albums, based on ragas, contemporary style fusion albums, which are popular even today. And some of my Jugalbandi fusion albums with legendary saxophone maestro Dr. Kadri Gopal Nath became a
yeah.
huge hit, success.
Mhm.
Rag. Even today, everybody remembers those albums after 20 years. So my throughout my journey till now, I have done all my collaborations, all my compositions bearing just that one single thing, that I want to take classical music uh, uh, to every person, every common man, every household, as far as possible, in various ways. You know, I would take a minute of yours to also mention here that during this lockdown, I started something called as Ragatainment. Wherein I started. I have decided to play 101 ragas, each of 1 minute. because Instagram allows me only 60 seconds. So I decided to play each raga just one alap of 1 minute, and over a period of 52 weeks. So each week I am publishing 2 ragas on Mondays and Thursdays. So that there again, I did that because I wanted these youngsters. I saw that during the lockdown, everyone became a musician, everyone became a singer, everybody was singing, and mostly it was film songs. Even the talented young instrumentalists, they chose to do cover versions of Western songs or Bollywood songs or even our Kannada Sallywood song. So at that, some of them are really, really talented. They could produce the same thing as good as anybody. So I thought, if these talented children, youngsters, are exposed to classical ragas, and if they get to learn a little more, even if some of them, get hooked on to classical ragas, then it's a great service.
Yeah.
So that was my motivation. So I started Ragatainment, and I have incidentally completed 51 episodes now, and another 50 episodes to go. So, as I said, throughout my journey, I have always tried to push Indian classical ragas into the mainstream. अगर थोड़ा सा उनको अगर रागों का नाम अगर घूम जाए, if it keeps circulating, if there are, this is the name of a raga, this is the name. So next time, who knows, if they are listening to some classical musician, they might say, "Can you sing this raga?" Instead of they saying, "Can you sing this song?" I want them to say, "Can you sing this raga?" That will be a great victory for music. So,
That's great. Just my one request to be, if you can hear the small piece of that thing that was talking about Ragatainment, he was talking about. Can we hear a little bit of this thing?
Yeah, I mean, a Ragatainment is each episode 1 minute alap. I try to bring out that essence of that raga. So, for example, Rag Desh.
क्या कहने. So great, so great. It's a good work that you are doing. It's really great work that if the students and the listeners get encouraged and surely comes to the concerts and ask us or the musicians to sing a rag, that will be great. That will be great.
Yeah.
And that will be the great work that we are doing for the Indian classical music.
Thank you. See, but what happens is most of the people they can identify with film songs, So one of my efforts was to talk to them in that language, film songs based on ragas, classical ragas. So obviously I had to choose the songs of yesteryears. Aajkal ka music it is very difficult. So पुराने गाने जो भी हैं उनको लेके make them a small part of the presentation so they can immediately identify. And so then I can say, you are enjoying this film song, but this film song is based on this raga. And so many film songs, these are based on this raga. So next time, when you listen to the film song, you also remember this raga, it's based on this raga. And so thereby, you can also take that as a reference whenever you want to ask a person to sing. You can ask him to sing, "Bhaiya, ye raag gao, ye gana mat." I know the song, but you sing this raga. That will be a great thing.
So, can I have an example of what you are talking about? So, this any raga.
Yeah. So, which Okay, if I choose Rag Yaman.
Yeah. क्या बात है? हाँ हाँ हाँ
So
क्या बात क्या बात It's
ऐसे
a great
अगर
way
हम
to it's a great way to teach. Great way to teach.
yeah, and it's also an ode to the music composers, the singers. You know, कितना सुरीला
Yeah.
उन्होंने गाया, लता जी,
हाँ
किशोर
हाँ
जी,
हाँ
you know, Mohammed Rafi
यशुदास जी
साहब, Yesudas ji,
जी
SP Balasubramaniam ji. So he
यशवी
did,
जी हाँ
yeah. So I conduct concerts. I pay tribute to these masters with the foundation of ragas. So I elaborate the ragas, then I include some popular Eri Alipi becomes a part of the composition. If I have a singer, I make them sing. So Yaman ko puri tarah khol ke the different facets. So it's I call it infotainment. There's a lot of information, but
yeah
at the same time there's a lot of entertainment as well.
yeah great. It's so great to have you with us. Thank you so much for your time and wonderful explanation and wonderful work that you have been doing. And God bless you and with wonderful. And thank you, Praveen ji, and thank you, Shadaj, for being with us today. And it's an honor to have you both in our festival. We are great. We are eagerly waiting to listen to your recital.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so
Ji. Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.